Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to a brand new series on Apex Racing TV. It is the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship. Over the next 9 weeks we are going to bring you 8 rounds of 24 15-minute races. Reverse grids are of plenty, and with over 30 cars on the track it should be a fantastic season coming up. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Andy Thompson, Sam Kumo operating the cameras, and Andy, it is always an exciting time to watch a brand new series, and I think this one is particularly exciting. This is a rookie car. We've got lots of new drivers on the grid, and I think from the practice times at least, and really just from the roster that I've seen, we could be in for an incredibly competitive championship.
Yeah, definitely. You know, great to be back on a new series in a brand new car to the series and to the Apex family as such. So it's going to be really interesting, and certainly, like you say, it's a brand new car to iRacing, so it'll be interesting to see how much experience these guys have got going around. So a great first round here around this Laguna Seca, you know, classic track. I think this was my first track that I raced on iRacing in the MX-5 with, so it brings back very good fond memories. But it's good to see that in our grid at the moment we've got 17 brand new drivers to ARL, so welcome to them guys, and hope they have a really good season, and some usual faces and names in the lineup as well, Sam.
Yeah, the Adjusons brothers in particular, proper veterans, taking part in plenty of ARL series and a few others as well, especially from the Mazda Cup Championship. Jordan Kelly, you can see there, a real-life Formula V driver. And so for VRA Racing, he is going to be one of the favourites for this season, but it's very difficult to tell. Of course, the draft effects in this car is so strong that around the vast majority of circuits, really, it's going to be anyone's game. And with reverse grids for race 2 and race 3, that means that 16 out of the 24 races are reverse grids, and so there's going to be plenty of overtaking to be done as well. A word on this car, Andy, it is of course a new car to the iRacing simulator, only about 2 months old, but it's straight away being made free. It's one of the rookie cars for new drivers to learn the craft on iRacing. It's quite low powered, but in terms of raceability, it is one of the absolute best, certainly the best single seats in terms of raceability, because like I said, the draft effect is so strong, and even around this Laguna Seca circuit, a lot of corners which you'd usually brake for, you just go flat out, and so it maybe takes the concerns away from a couple of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's a brilliant car. It's an unusual car to drive. It's a different driving style than like you get in the Mazda, and like you say, it's a low-powered car, but you've got to be on your toes to be able to drive it. Going into corners, you've got to go into it early, make sure you're not braking into the corners, or else you'll just basically go forward with the thinness of these wheels going into corners. You've also got to use your accelerator going around the corners to try and power yourself around it to get that tight turn in. So a completely different driving style to probably what a lot of grid are used to. So I'm sort of hoping that this first round is nice and clean, but I'm sort of expecting some spins, Sam.
I think that's realistic, isn't it? And a couple of the drafts that I've seen, I've been saying, oh, this will be fun, I haven't got any experience in the car, which isn't exactly what you want to hear, but hopefully with the 2-hour practice that they had, they can get up to speed. And of course, they're currently in a 10-minute qualifying session, and this will set the grid for race 1. All the 3 races are worth the same amounts of points, so even getting a good result in race 1 isn't necessarily going to be indicative of what your evening's going to be, but it can certainly help you. At the moment, it is Jordan Kelly at the top, but just seeing some of these top drivers lap round, they're struggling to get kind of any clear air. Darren Adjinson's is one of them. Formula 3 amateur champion, of course, is Darren, also fighting for the amateur championship in the GT series, but he's near the front of the pros at the moment, just showing his competitiveness is the Belgian. I doubt this will be an improvement. And you'll see on the timing tower on the left, we've got the red stripe for the pro drivers and the white stripe for the amateur drivers, and that cuts off is approximately 2,000 iRating. So yeah, the amateurs below that 2,000, the pro drivers above it, as Adjinson's does move up into second position despite having a bit of traffic, it looked like, so maybe some more potential in that car. And so watch out for the order, not just, you know, at the top of the tower, but also who's leading from those white striped drivers.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, Sam, the first race is all done down to the qualifying. As we can see at the moment, Kelly's out in front, but only just from Darren Adjison. So we put in a really fast slot there with Whitaker 0.136 behind Kelly. But then there's a big gap between third and fourth, half a second between Andallo and Scatrat. So you know, there's a bit of a gulf, and as we see Jank going to the top of the leader, and Kelly now pushed down by 5 thousandths of a second, so you know, absolutely minuscule in his timing. So I'm expecting some really good racing. But like you said, Sam, you know, the first race is all done by the qualifying, but then it's the reverse grids that come into play. So a lot of the AM drivers that are mid-pack will be starting to get to the front of the grid, and that's a daunting prospect in these leagues, being out in front and then having a lot of pro drivers behind you. And it's all going to be about how these pro drivers get past the AM drivers that are in front of them. And also the other thing is, because these cars are not the quickest cars, they're going to have to think tactically how to pass these cars and how to get through the field without causing any damage, because these cars are pretty paper thin, and any sort of hit does do a lot of damage on the cars.
Yeah, new damage model on these cars, and so it's very easy to pluck a wheel off. So yeah, watch out for that as Adjinson's goes to the top of the Jensen's variety. Could it be a 1-2 for the brothers? Probably not, because Dara is only just exiting the pits, and with it being a 1-minute 40 lap, anyone who isn't already on a lap won't have time to complete their lap, because you've got to complete your lap before the 10 minutes are up. So there's only anyone who's currently on an out lap will not have time to improve. But there's still probably a few challenges coming in. Shirley moves up into 9th position, 2nd place out of the Brits. There are many drivers returning to the series. Whitaker also crossed the line. He's got a lovely draft across the line, but I don't think it was an improvement for him. Just falling short there with a 43.3. So no improvement there. But 4 1,000ths of a second, in fact 9 1,000ths of a second, separating the top 3.
That is insane how close the top 3 are together. But the top 4 are all within, just probably the length of the hair difference between them. But then there's a little bit of gap to 5, and then 6 is about half a second down. So certainly the top 5 at the moment are the ones to watch for the first race. But, you know, it's a new championship, new car, new probably time that a lot of these drivers have been in these cars. So it's all brand new to everybody. So I think it's going to take a few rounds for some of the people to get into these cars and how to drive them, Sam. But I'm really looking forward to this race, and with the qualifying times that we're seeing at the moment, I think the top 5 are certainly going to be the ones scrapping out at the front of this race for the first race.
And Scoret improve? Yep, Scoret's a quality driver, is Alexander, so he moves up to 6th. And, well, maybe he'll be another fighter for the win, as he just about crossed the line in time. And so we can start to grid up then. It will be a standing start in these Formula V cars for each race. And it is Jensen Adriansen's, I believe, with his first ever pole position. Dare I say, might even be Indy Autosport's first ever pole position. I'm not sure about that, but they probably had about 100 odd entries into aerial events. So that's a big result there for Jensen's, ahead of Jan-Philipp Jank and Jordan Kelly. Kelly, one of the few returning drivers. Dara Adriansen's lines up there in 4th position. Then it is James Whitaker, Alexander Scoret, Flavio Andallo, who looked very strong at the start of the session, but failed to really improve as the session went on. Then it's Mark Charpentier, Martin Shirley, Simon Ball is top of the amateurs. Then it's Daniel Civi-Sabo, Jarrett Will in 12th position. Then it's Aaron Smith, Jesse Meetonen, Michael McGuinness, Brad LaCour, Frederick Reisdick, Pedro Dominguez, Jay Walsh, Jacob Money, Russ Fowler, Pustisha Pravda, Jared Colley, Dean Timms, Damien McMullen, Bruno Costa, Gabor Sabo, Alex Roggenbuck, Jacob Paris, Jack Reeve, Jakob Behrens, Colin Sansom, and I don't think Alessandro will be taking the grid, Alessandro Dalladone. I don't believe he got on the grid in time, as, well, 30 seconds to spare, but everyone's on the grid already, so we're about to get the season underway here at Laguna Seca. And it's Jensen Adriansen who brings us to the green flag. We are away racing for 15 minutes of action for race 1. It's a good start for Andelo to move up place. Also Shirley, but the top 5 are all in the exact same place. And the top 2 really sprinting away. Could be 3 wide or 3rd position just behind as they head into turn 1. Kelly holding on to that 3rd position crucially. As in fact, I think Adriansen has gone wide. Jensen Adriansen's going wide from the pole position. We've got a couple of cars spinning up in the air as well. Few drivers littered across the circuit. I think that's about 10 cars potentially with damage from that first lap incident, and plenty of drivers may have to get a tow back to the pits.
Yeah, definitely. It looked all quite clean at the front, as we see there. Alex Rothenberg obviously losing a wheel coming around that first corner, looking like a bit of a bumblebee that's been a bit seen better days, and it's obviously towing back to the pit. But the front of the grid obviously getting away, but that rear of the grid and Packers, we see some more incidents. You know, and we see how paper thin these cars are. You know, one hit and you're losing a wheel. I don't think these guys will be going anywhere, to be honest. They need to obviously tow back to the pits. So we've got quite a few cars that are currently in the pits. Currently we've got James Whitaker, Jared Wilt, Michael McGuinness, Brad McCaw, Jacob Money, Russ Fowler, Jared Carlisle, Dean Tammins, Gabor Sabo, Alex Rundberg and Jacob Price are all in the pits at the moment. So about half the field has gone back to the pits, so an interesting first race here unfolding, Sam, as we see that car just clipping the end of the back end of the car and taking his wheels out, so you can see, you know, any slight damage on these cars, and you're going to be in trouble.
As Dara Adjensons takes the lead, we were riding on board with Jensen Adjensons just a moment ago, who started from pole position, but he is one of the main drives back to the pit. So we've got David McMullen up 15 places, Behrens is up 19 places from 31st on the grid, he's up into 12th. And you're right, pretty much half the order are back into the pits already. It's not the start of the season that we were hoping for. It's the start of the season that we thought might be possible. However, with of course the Andretti hairpin we have around this circuit, and so yeah, not the start of the season that many drivers have been imagining, and it has kind of separated out the field quite a bit as well. Still, Simon Ball managed to get through it all, and so he's top of the outer drivers. McMullen in second place out of them, getting a lot of places, and Pravda as well up there in 14th position, albeit a long way off the lead. Ball even trying to attack Shirley, but Dara Adjenson's out in the lead. It's actually sprinting away. He's already got a 1.2 second lead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it massively paid off for the drivers who took that Andretti corner a little bit more cautious than some of the guys that probably went gun-hole into it. Obviously, cold tyres going around that corner, it's like a double apex corner that you got to try to get. So it's just, 2 corners in one to get that line. And unfortunately, at the start, where everyone going like 2 or 3 wide, you're completely offline for that corner, and just makes it so much difficult. And as we saw there, it just takes one car, as we see Jacob Behrens go off down into the corkscrew, luckily not picking up any cars and still able to carry on. So just joined back in 17th, but lost quite a few places there on that spin, but easily done down the corkscrew. But yeah, that first corner saw, I think I caught a lot of drivers out there, Sam. Yeah,
and yeah, hopefully they learn from it in race 2 and race 3. The reverse grid, of course, will be applied, but with so many drivers out of position, it won't really be much of a reverse grid out there. I think there might be a few quick guys starting near the front, as McMullen is trying to attack Sharpen TA currently, and that is another place gained for McMullen, I believe. Sharpen TA up down 4 places from his race start. Or is that McMullen defending? In fact, I think that's McMullen defending, apologies. So Charpentier kind of on the comeback, so he must have had a spin on that opening lap, but managed to keep all 4 wheels on it, and he is driving very quick across the top. Not too much damage you can really pick up in this car, as long as he has to keep the wheels on, because there's barely any aero on these things, and Charpentier does move ahead into 11th position, and now Pravda can maybe move up into 2nd position as of the outers.
Yeah, definitely. But McMullen, obviously, big profit from that first lap instance, moved up 13 places. So he's probably rubbing his hands at the moment, because he would have been seeing the whole grid in front of him going down that first straight going into the Andretti corner. But obviously managing to pick his way through the carnage of the first corner and getting up 13 places. So it'll be over the moon. And obviously, like you say, currently 2nd place with... you got Ball in 5th place, Simon Ball in 5th place, who's having an outstanding first race for the AMS. But you know, you got Darren Adgerson's obviously a change for the lead from the brothers, obviously up 3 places, and then you got Jan-Philippe Jank, who's obviously behind him. He hasn't moved up any places. He stayed in 2nd place, and the rest of the grid behind him going up sort of 3 places. So the top 3, Adgerson, Jank, and Scarrett, out in front at the moment.
Jank wanting to take that position back, so I thought he was dropping away from Dara, because he lost about a second immediately once Dara managed to overtake, so maybe like a slowdown or something. But Dara has been caught again, and I think this is, I think they're just very evenly matched, and the draft effect once again, especially around this circuit, is really strong, as they have to deal with some of the back marks. That was just the 33 of Jacob Paris getting out of the way, down in 26th position, and they're probably going to have back markers to the end of the race. They've got all the way up to 19th to deal with, as Jank is going to have an awesome opportunity, and maybe it's a gentleman's agreement to not attack into the corkscrew, but in these cars it is very tempting to do so, and he is moving ahead, is the German. Can he get it stuck around the outside? He sure can. So it's Jan-Philippe Jank back to the front of the order, but as long as Dara stays close to him, he should be able to battle back, and should be able to draft back alongside at some point in the race.
Yeah, I bet the guys at the front here didn't think in a 15-minute race that they'll be overtaking back markers in this race, but obviously, as we saw now, there's a whole stream of them right in front of it, so it adds a whole new element to the game, but it could pay into the favour because, like you say, Sam, these slipstreams are exceptionally strong in these cars, as we see it. Dara trying to get back as we see. You know, you can see the overspeed of the slipstream effect coming down onto the tire, even on a short straight like this. But, you know, these back markers are certainly going to come into play on these. These tyres are going to be nice and warm now so they can start opening out the cars. But the cars in front of them are going to be maybe even on their outlap from going back into the pit. So they're going to be on cold tyres. So they've got to be aware of the braking distance coming up to these cars and just make sure they give them enough room, Sam.
Yeah, and so far the awareness has been very good. We saw some big problems in the GT Championship, or maybe it was the F3 Championship, apologies, a couple of days ago. Oh man, that was so close again. But these guys are much more respectable, as here comes Adjunsters. Now this kink is flat out, but if you're on the inside like this, you are not going to be able to go flat out. And Dara, I think it's best just to back out of that one. And he sure does, but you can see how, you know, in a GT car that would be a slight, you know, tap of the brakes. These cars absolutely pinned to the floor, and so it really does extend the straights and makes it so easy to overtake into the corkscrew, as we saw on the last lap. Dara behind at the moment, but that toe is so strong, as we saw down the pit straight on the last time round, that he will undoubtedly have a chance later on. Scuret's coming under pressure from, increasingly under pressure from Andalo. Andalo was 1/10 faster on that last lap and the fastest lap man of anyone on that last 12 of the circuit, so the Brazilian looking very strong.
Yeah, it's starting to gain up the speed now, getting on the back of Scuret into third place, going into the fourth. So we should see him start moving up the order and certainly challenging Scuret down this corner, going into the Andretti curve. So we'll sort of stay on board and see if he can get it done going into this first corner. I think he's probably going to play it wide. He's going nice and wide into the corner, which is probably the better line, so he can cut back in onto the Andretti corner. And I think we had a bit of an incident behind him, and Andalo hit the car, a lap car that was going in. So that was not the best move there from Andalo. So he must have seen the car in front of him, but chose the wrong line. It must have been because he was quite tight on the inside, I think, when we come in. So the normal line is to go out wide on this one. He did. As the driver behind him unfortunately collected him, so not his fault in that one. My mistake there. So
yeah, that was a fortunate one, and that, I mean, into a hairpin like that, you're always kind of holding your breath when you go around the outside. That please just, you know, stay tight. You know, hopefully that you've broken early, because when you are that tight to the corner, you know, you're losing a lot of turning. So that is where the problems can arise. Jensen's back. Apologies, Dara. Jensen's fighting for the lead, but Yank manages to come back. He's gone across the gravel though, and that is probably over aggressive there from Yank, because that might drop out of the draft now if he's not careful. So that was a big mistake there. It really wasn't a big deal losing the lead. He was going to be able to bring it back anyway, probably in half a lap's time, but way too late on the brakes there, and that may have just cost him a chance at the race win. Seems to have served the slowdown now, and he's only 9/10 of a second back. Now I think that is outside of draft rank, but a couple of good laps and he might be able to gain. And look at Scuret now, right with these guys. There was also a move behind for Andalo to move back up into 5th place. Ball was in 5th place, but he's now dropped to 7th behind Smith as well. Jordan Kelly is now the next to get past, and Sharpen TA has been very quick in 9th position, one of the fastest drivers out on the circuit. So Ball was in 5th. I think he might be down to 9th in just a moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can see Andalo there, luckily not to really pick up any damage from that incident in the last lap on the first corner, but, you know, has got back onto his normal pace, and he's showing that he's a class above the drivers around him, quickly picking off 6th place to get back into 5th. But there's a big gap between himself and Shirley now, so I think the best that he's going to do with only 4 minutes left of this race is just to keep the position that he's currently in, and just trying for race 2. But, you know, lucky he didn't get damage from that back marker into the turn 1, which is quite easily done within this car. But it's certainly moving up, as we see Dominguez here trying to put a bit of pressure on Perez in front of him in the pole, but unfortunately takes it a little bit too wide coming out.
He's off the circuit and he's collided with what's that, Kelly, and we've got a change for the lead in the amateurs then. So McMullen from 29th on the grid or something moves to the lead of the amateurs. Is also changing around for the lead, but we'll get a replay of what just happened for the lead in a moment. But this is for the lead in the amateurs, and this was ball. I think there's a spinner ahead. No, he's actually the spinner, and then there's a big cloud of smoke. He tries to get out of the way, so he has done. But then has he spun back into the track? He has, and well. Oh, I think that was on the previous lap. So that's when he went from 5th down to 7th. And then it was a separate incident. But this was Yank going off. And that has... yeah, so this was on the previous lap. Apologies. There was, I mean, it just shows how much is going on when we can show the wrong lap and it's still very exciting. But yeah, here was the incident then with Ball. So he's driven it in deep. He's collided with the back of... I believe that's Kelly, but I'm not 100% sure. And then too much damage for him to get any drive.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly. He had a lot of overspeed coming into that corner. Unfortunately, clipped into the back of Kelly in front of him, spun them both around, which has caused Kelly to obviously be down to 9th place at the moment, and unfortunately Ball to go back into the pit. So yeah, he'll be losing a lot of places now. Probably joining on to the group that unfortunately in the first lap all crashed out. So you know, the story of the 2 races on this, all the way down to 16th, is the ones that survived the first incident, and then you got 17th down.
Sorry to interrupt, but storming through the middle is Dar Adjinson. So that was an incredible move there, as Skurret tried to go up the inside of Yank. And yeah, just the line opened up for Adjinsons, and he moves back to the lead again with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, these two are certainly batting it out in front, and I think they got the pace on each other, and it's a cat and mouse game, and I think it's all going to come down to tactics, Sam. And obviously, you know, you got Jank at the moment who's behind him, but we'll have that insane slipstream coming up the first thing, and Anderson might do well just to let him past here and take full advantage of that coming down this straight. But looks like they're going to be side by side coming down the start finish to start what will be the last lap. Luckily, Anderson gets in front of Jank, but we've got is that right? We've got Skurret on there who's come to join the battle as well. So Jank's obviously now got a watch for Skurret coming bounders. He's got the perfect line Skurret going around the outside, so he should get the speed, and has now got the inside line for the next corner on Jank. So Jank's massively under pressure from Skurret in 3rd place at the moment. So yeah, it's all going on for this last lap here, Sam.
Sure is. Pravda just moved up to 2nd place out of the amateurs, by the way. An issue for Reeve, I believe he was in that position. So yeah, sorry that we're not showing that, but of course we've got a three-way battle for the lead at the moment, and Yank crucially being able to hold on, and it's just incredible. That's not even a long straight. I mean, it's barely a straight in you know, very high-powered cars, and yet these things can make up 4/10 or 5/10 of a second gap down to 2/10 of a second, and it's going to give him a brilliant run into the corkscrew where this race could be decided. There will be opportunities into the final couple of corners, but I think this is where you want to be leading, and Yank is leading going into the corkscrew. He drove it in too deep early on. Can he get it stopped this time? He sure can, and he might just leave the other two to battle between themselves from here on in. Flat out through the downhill left-hander, and it'll be nearly flat as well through the right-hander as well. There's still an opportunity for Adjinsons if he can get a good run to go for a dive into the final corner, but I think Yank has just got enough of a gap at the moment as he turns into the final corner, and in his Apex Racing League debut, it is going to be Jan Philip Yank for Holstein Racing to take the first race win of the season. He beats Dar Adjinsons and Alexander Skurret to the line in a brilliant race 1 battle. Behind Shirley and Smith around out the top 5, McMullen is having to try to hold off Pravda right to the line here. Pravda's been very quick in the second half of the race. He's diving down the inside. He's got very slow though, and McMullen just needs a decent drive, and he sure has got that, and he should be able to take the position. Kelly as well storming up to the back of them. Kelly will have to settle for 12th position though. And wow, that was kind of everything that we expected it to be honest, Andy. There, big crash at turn 1, plenty of incidents elsewhere, but a really good battle for the race win.
Yeah, definitely. Both in the pro and the AMs, it went all the way to the wire. I was watching that last lap on the pros, and I thought Skurret going up to the corkscrew was going to make it 3 wide going through that, but an excellent move there by Jan Philippe Jank down through the corkscrew. Obviously got it wrong a couple of laps beforehand and got the slowdown, but actually got it perfectly on the last lap, which took the lead. And that gave him a lot of overspeed coming down into the last section, which Dara couldn't quite make up coming into there. But excellent race there, and as we saw in the AMs as well, all the way to the last corner, tried to make a light dive up there was Prada, but unfortunately had the slower exit speed out of the corner due to taking that corner really steep, and Mullen was managed to keep it on, and Kelly, that took the proper racing line through that, actually managed to get Prada as well on the line. So Prada went from second in the AMs all the way down to third. So excellent first race. You know, a lot of incidences on that first lap, but both the pros and the AMs in the end was down to almost a straight line finish to the finishing line there. So excellent first race, and hopefully from the second race, Sam, we'll see a lot more conservative action going into that first corner, but we're yet to see.
Yeah, you'd hope so. With everything that went on, there are the results. Yank, Adjinsons, Skurret, Shirley, Smith, Andelo, Charpentier in 7th position. Charpentier was very quick, so watch out for him in race 2. It was a reverse grid of 14 for race 2, so Pedro Dominguez will be on pole position. There's a couple of amateurs near the front. Jordan Kelly as well, who qualified well for race 1. I think he is the huge favourite at the moment, but Pravda, despite dropping those couple of places, might be a slight advantage because he will have a clear view at that turn 1. So we've got a few more moments of gridding up to go. All the drivers seem to be returning, although maybe Jacob Money, I don't think, as maybe throwing in the towel already after having an incident in race 1. But yeah, 3 seconds to go, and we are about to get the lights on. So race 2 of the evening, race 2 of the season. The lights are coming on. Dominguez from pole. And we are away. It's another strong start from the front row of the grid, and that's exactly what they needed. Kelly not being able to make much of an impression. Meaton with a strong start, although Kelly in the second stage of the start made that shorter line, is really helping him out. And he might even go for the lead here. He's already past Pravda, and he's trying to attack Dominguez for the lead straight away. Can start as well. But Andelo, as we've got the spin around for Dominguez from the lead, and other drivers are surely going to pile into him. And there's an incident further ahead, which is probably the main problem. Drivers losing it on cold tires, drivers crashing into one another, and it's very reminiscent of race 1. Maybe only 8 drivers, I think, getting faster pairs rather than 10, but many drivers, many of which I think may have been the race leaders from race 1, having problems.
Yeah, definitely. I thought, you know, with that first corner incident when they came down here, we had Dominguez actually spin it in the first corner, and all the drivers seemed to get past him, but I think obviously it put everybody offline, and therefore the pile-up happened after turn 1. But, you know, Dominguez there just doing well, keeping his car stationary, letting everyone else go past him. But as we saw there, then we saw the ping-pong effect in iRacing, where, you know, as soon as they came out of the second corner, there was basically cars hitting into each other coming out of turn 1. But like you said, a lot less than I think you got 10. I think there's 10 that's had to go back to the pits. But we got our usual. Yes, we've got a couple of the front runners from the first race that are still in with a chance for this. But as we see coming down the corkscrew here, a lot more issues coming down here. So yeah, hectic first race as we see them all in the pits lane at the moment, Sam.
I didn't see that corkscrew incident, but honestly, it looked from when I looked up, and there were 2 cars who somehow managed to spin into one another. Yeah, I just watched it again, and one car spinning into a stationary car. That's Golden. And yeah, so there was Berens, Shirley, Skurret, who of course fought for the race 1 win. Yank won race 1. He's had to take a tow, although he seems to already be back on his way. And Sibi Sabo, Will, Colos, other Sabo, Fowler, Dominguez, Propulsit, and McMullen as well, who won race 1 in the amateurs. As Ball, who had a good opportunity, a good result, he's stationary and he's having to wait a while for the others to get back going. It means that Dara Adjins has been able to get up to 2nd position then. That is remarkable because he didn't gain that many places off the line, but that second half of the first lap, he's absolutely charged through the order, and the man who finished in 2nd place in race 1 is well on course for 2nd place in race 2, although he's got the very quick Andelo close behind, and Meetonen might have the pace to stay close as well. But Kelly is now 4 seconds up the road, and even though Adjinsons is quick, I think Kelly should be home and driving there.
Yeah, he should do, as long as he keeps it nice and clean, and he's got that free air to choose the lines that he wants to choose. You know, the unfortunate with Dara, which is he's done an exceptional start getting up 11 places, obviously keeping out of trouble. And I think that's the big thing about this, is the start of the race. There's probably going to be incidents, and I think in this car, you've got to be a little more spatial awareness of what's going on around you and trying to pick the line through there, and try and keep yourself clean, because as we saw there's a lot of people that have gained a lot of places. You've got Dan Anderson up 11 places, and you've got Jensen Anderson up 14 places. It's currently in 5th spot, so there's big gains out of the lap 1 incident that's occurred in both of these races. And like you say, I think Kelly at the moment's obviously starting to streak out, and Dara's in a fight with Flavio and Metellan in 4th place. So this is the battle for 2nd at the moment, which is giving Kelly the opportunity to choose his line and get further out in front, Sam. So I think you're all right. I think it is his to lose now.
Yeah, and he's continuing to pull away because Adjunson and Angelo are still battling one another. I feel like the draft is so strong that you can kind of use the cycling tactics with the in the velodrome, and you know it is during the Olympics, so I can make that comparison. Well, you maybe pull ahead of the other driver with the draft. You use the momentum and you go ahead. That's not actually how it works in the cycling, but it kind of looks similar, and I think that could be done. However, they're kind of fighting on it, so that tactic is certainly not happening. And look at this, they're going side by side into the kink, and we've still got over 10 minutes to go in the race. It's really not worth it, guys. Don't make contact, don't crash out this early on. And look at Meetonen, he's just going to go straight through the middle, exactly what we saw in race 1. Breathe in, and yeah, they just cost each other that position. So that was very low IQ racing there from Adjunson and Angelo.
Yeah, what a classic move there, and that was brilliant, and it's so good that we caught that one on camera from a bird's eye view and from a cockpit view, and then, you know, it was like the parting of the seas, and I think we call him Moses from now on, because that was a classic iRacing move. The two in front were battling, you know, taking the wrong line through that very fast left-handed corner, obviously taking the proper line, getting the speed and getting the overrun on the two going up to the run to the corkscrew. So the new Moses is in town.
Yes, and there's so many rallying jokes we can make about Meetonen as well, being from Finland. So there's an absolute treasure chest of commentary things to talk about this season, as already Adjunson's back up into 2nd position ahead of Meetonen. The other Adjunson's now moves up to 3rd position. Can he stay ahead of Meetonen? Angelo looked like he was going to be able to gain there, but he has to remain in 5th. And now it is Jensens who is struggling to move up into that 3rd position, looks to the inside. And again, it's going to lose them a lot of time. This is exactly what Angelo needs. Although he's going very slowly now as Angelo. I don't know if that's a slowdown or something. But all of a sudden slowing. And Charpentier moves past. So a poor couple of laps there for Angelo, who was in 2nd place. Very quick driver. But he now drops all the way back to 6th, by my reckoning. These guys are in a pack, and we've also got a battle as well for the lead in the amateurs. We've got McGuinness and Pravda very close to one another, because I think there's been a problem for, was McMullen around these drivers just a moment ago? I think he was, but he's had an awful lap, I think, as McMullen, so he's down in 19th. Well, I might be making that one up. Yeah, he's just in a, I don't know, no, actually, I think I'm making that up. So yeah, it's just a straight fight between McGuinness and Pravda, I think.
Yeah, I think he obviously incidentally he's one of the ones that are lapped down, as we see another incident between McGuinness and Prada coming down into the corkscrew. You've got to be really careful rejoining here and look at your relatives, because that's a blind corner at the top of that corkscrew. So if you're halfway across that track and somebody else comes around the outside of you, then you're going to get hit coming down into that. So good move there to get back on the track and still keep going. But we've got Prada now obviously out in front with the AM Championship. But Parisi is behind him in 11th place, is in the 2nd place in the AMs at the moment, and just needs to get onto the back of him, I think. So fighting it with Smith at the moment, coming down into the 1st corner. So the change in the AMs, we've got Prada and Parisi in 2nd place in the AMs at the moment, with Lacour in 3rd place in the AMs. Yeah,
McGuinness, yeah, really unfortunate for him to drop down. We didn't see if that was maybe Pravda's fault or whoever's fault it was, but it did send them down, as Ball has had a really bad race, because he managed to get through lap 1, and yet I think he's had to pick up a fast repair despite that. So he, no, well, that's the fast repair gone, and he's sliding across. Can everyone avoid? Well, does he have staying down? Surely, because that was a huge impact. Now, it certainly looked like a huge impact, but looking at the steering, it looks fine. It's absolutely fine. And of course, there's no wing. You can't pick up splits damage. You can't pick up front wing damage because there isn't one. So I guess he just continues at exactly the same pace as he was.
Yeah, it was, luckily not to get some damage. Obviously, they got all the damage to be taken is in the front. As we see a big off here, Jarrett Will in front with Zabo in 29. So, you know, fighting throughout the fields, even with the lower positions, just to gain that bit of respect back with the drivers, going through even all the way through the different parts of the field. As we see Jankier in 23rd place, obviously race 1 winner, had a terrible incident going into the second corner on the first lap, which took a lot of the front runners out. And obviously the Adriansons brothers seem to be the ones that have profited out of this. They're currently 2nd and 3rd, Sam.
Yeah, and battling with one another, but you'd think that they won't battle with each other quite as much as they were, or quite as much as they have with other drivers. That is, Jensen's now ahead of Dara, and now the two of them will argue who's the faster, but genuinely they are very evenly matched. Honestly, I'd maybe give the edge to Jensen, but then it's very tricky to tell because Jensen kind of joined ARL much sooner than Dara. But, you know, they've both got 1 championship apiece as well in the amateurs. But, of course, this is fighting for the pros at the moment, the overall race wins. So that's very impressive. Mark Charpentier, who's been very under the radar. But honestly, Mark is exceptionally quick. Wasn't really very quick in practice or qualifying, but he's now absolutely storming up. And by the way, quick shout out to SDK Gaming. You can see the overlay up on screen. That bottom right battle box is gives you so much information. I mean, that's some of the information it can show, but you can show pretty much anything with that. It's absolutely amazing kits, is SDK Gaming. So many elements up on the overlay. It's fantastic as a heads-up display, and it's yeah, really the go-to when it comes to broadcasting or streaming. So do check out SDK-gaming.co.uk and you want to get yourself a 14-day free trial. Charpentier is at the front of this train, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to hang on up this pit straight.
Definitely. He came from nowhere, really, and Mitten and Andelo were battling quite hard. And, you know, Charpentier, just keeping his lines probably honest, caught up with them and managed to get the pass. So it just shows how powerful these cars are and how much, if you get off that racing line, how much time you actually lose around here. Because, like you say, Sam, he sort of crept up on them, and now he's in the battle for 4th place. And doing exceptionally well. So these 3 cars battling out for 4th, 5th and 6th. First place is miles ahead now, 8.8 seconds ahead of the Adriansons brothers in 2nd and 3rd. And then obviously you've got this little battle here that we're seeing on screen by Andelo, Merton and Carpentier. So yeah, these cars are great to watch. And you know, one little mistake, Sam, and it can cause you a position. And as we saw with Mittman's excellent pass on the 2 guys on previous lap, you know, you can get right in the thick of it just by keeping your lines and keeping that braking distance and then getting on the accelerator in time. You can make so much time up on these cars. That's why I think it's going to be such a good league going forward.
Yeah. I need to give them a bit more of a try actually on iRacing, because I tried it around the Red Bull Ring North circuit or something. I think that's like the worst track for that car, honestly, because it's barely a circuit in itself, so I didn't really get much of a chance. But it does look a lot of fun, and I would probably be out here racing with them, honestly, if I wasn't up here in the commentary box. As Smith moves up into 9th position past Prata, but Prata still at the top of the amateurs. And of course the reason why I would join, well, part of the reason I'd join it, because it looks like a lot of fun, but also this is a free to enter league. It's the first time that Apex Racing League have done that, and so it's really accessible for absolutely everyone. As long as you've got a D license on the roadside of iRacing, you are welcome to join. So free entry, really nothing to lose, give it a go, and yeah, join us for round 2 of the season. Sign up details on apexracingleague.com, where you can also see details of the championship along with the calendar. Plenty of free circuits as well. Mietonen around there, and that was I think Andelo and Charpentier moving back past, and also Rijsdijk as well moving into 6th position. Shame for the Finnish driver, because he's had a very exciting race.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was trying to do a Scandinavian flick around that first corner, but didn't quite make it into that one. So yeah, unfortunately lost out into that race, and now it's obviously give Andelo and Champetier the opportunity to get 4th and 5th with. He's going to be playing catch up now going in as we see Bruno Costa here going around the first corner with Sam behind him trying to fight it. So down 14 for 15, still quite close battles going on. But we're probably seeing a lot of the faster drivers that are down the back end of the grid due to that first lap incident. So same again for race 3, really, Sam. We're not going to see the slower drivers at the front. We're probably going to see more of the faster drivers at the front to get out in front. So yeah, not the normal reverse grids we normally see in the ARL leagues, but it certainly adds a new flavour to reverse grids.
Yeah, and the reverse grid for race 3 will be 12 cars. So at the moment it'd be McGuinness who'd be on pole, as Paris now moves up to 12th place. In fact, I've just cursed McGuinness there for the second time in this race. I was talking about how well he was doing earlier on, and he crashed, and he has also dropped down for the second time there. Charpentier also just moving past Andelo. We're watching Costa and Samson. Samson moving ahead, but again, obviously, you just can't pull away in these cars around this circuit. We are going to some more complex circuits. This is one of the more expansive circuits we visit actually this season. I think Brands Hatch we're visiting. A few others. I'll have to check the calendar in a bit. Yeah, this is one of the biggest slipstream circuits of the season. So the racing won't necessarily be like this all the way through, as Andelo catching back up to Charpentier. These two have been absolutely glued to one another for the entire race. Adrianson's brothers right next to one another, but Kelly 10 seconds up the road as we are on the white flag lap.
Yeah, definitely. These 15 minutes are going by in a flash. There's so many incidents going on with these cars, battling throughout the field, from first all the way down to the last positions on the track. There's a battle wherever you look on the field, so always something to look at wherever you are out on track, as we're watching two brothers at the moment, Jensen, and in the interest of non-favoritism, I'll go with Dara as the faster of the Adrison brothers, just so we keep it evens on the broadcast here. So.
Yes, I'm sure he'll agree with you on that one, as Jordan Kelly was certainly the best in this race, and he takes the race win. That's the Irish driver, the real-life Formula V driver. He takes the spoils there. It'll be Jensens who beats Dara. Dara, the only driver really with 2 decent results so far tonight, might be Charpentier as well. But 2 podiums, two podiums for Dara makes it a very good first 2 races of the season. Smith and Whitaker, these guys have really been going at it on the last lap. I think Whitaker, does he almost catch up? It was down to 1/100th of a second. Whitaker just needed a few more yards there, and he would have been passed. Pravda wins in the amateur category. Oh, we got a contact right at the end. Samson and Costa, who were fighting a lot, and I think that was Costa spinning ahead of Samson at first glance, and now they're still next to one another, and they've also got another driver moving through. That's Roggenbuck trying to pick up the pieces, but somehow Costa's still got drive in that car, and he's held on for 16th. It was Paris who was able to take 12th position and will have reverse grid pole. As Costa, can he get it stopped? I think he's driven it in a bit deep, but he's all right. He'll hang on to 16th.
I think Sansam here has got a bit of damage on his front right. It was not quite connecting with the floor, so taking an exceptionally wide route into the last corner, trying to just get over the line to finish the race there, and try and just keep the 20th place. But I think he's going to possibly lose 20th place. There was the 21st, and on the line, he just quite gets to 22nd. So good effort on the end, and our first race winner, Jank, is in 23rd position, so not the result that he was probably looking for in this race. So I think the guys just need to be aware of this track going in, and they've had 2 races now on the first lap where there's been major incidences. It'd be interesting to see if round 3 does the same, Sam.
Yeah, well, we had a slight improvement, didn't we, in race 2? Hopefully it's all squeaky clean, everyone gets through, everyone has a great time, everyone wins the race in race 3. That's what we're hoping for, that's what the drivers are hoping for, and we're going to find out if that is what happens in just a moment on Apex Racing TV. But we're currently in a warm-up session. We're going to take this opportunity to show you a bit of a trailer for Apex Racing Academy, who are one of the sponsors for this championship, and this little video will show you the services that Apex Racing Academy provides. So we'll be back with you on Apex Racing TV in just a moment. Welcome back to the Apex Racing League Formula V Championship. That was a trailer for Apex Racing Academy. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the series. Apex Racing Academy providing 29 data packs, and those data packs all including setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions as well, and it's also integrated with virtual racing school. Big thanks to Apex Racing Academy as well for offering some prizes for the drivers. They can get a 1-year gold membership, I believe, for the class winners, and also down to 3rd position in both the pro and the AMS, and I think in the teams as well, all get kind of 1 month or 6 month worth of subscriptions to Apex Racing Academy. So some nice prizes there for the drivers, so big thanks to them for helping us out on Apex Racing League. We've got one more race to go here, Andy, and well, as we see the results as well for race 1, Kelly and the 2 Atkinsons in the top 3, we haven't really got much of an indication of what this season's going to be like, I think, from this race. I mean, we kind of know who's going to be at the front, but there's been so many problems that really, apart from Derek Atkinson's, no one's really been able to show what their pace is like in the first 2 races.
No, definitely not. I mean, Jordan Kelly in that second race, obviously, it looks like he is a real-life Formula V racer, so you know you would expect him to be quite good, and he showed his speed there in the second race, being able to get away. But it's when you get caught up into these battles, you know, these cars are like little bullets, and if you're behind one of them, they can easily come past you. So you know it's really tight racing throughout the whole field, and certainly if you've got big gaggle of you and you've got one getting out in front, that person out in front can choose his lines and can choose where to go. But if you're within that slipstream effect of these cars, as we've seen in the first 2 races, you know, you've got to be looking behind you rather than in front of you, because that's where all the danger is going to come from, because you know we've seen the overspeed of the slipstream effect. So this third race, I'm just hoping that they take it a little bit easier coming into the first corners, and hopefully, you know, fingers crossed that we might have a race where we can get all the cars around the first lap and then see some close racing. But you know, new cars, new track layouts that the guys are not used to on these cars, and you know, it's going to be a learning process for the guys, and hopefully, you know, they know now that these cars are not easy to drive, and take the time appropriately to do that.
Credit to all the drivers who started that race for finishing the race. The most laps that anyone was down was 2 laps, and as long as you finish within 2 laps of the race leader, or technically within 3 laps, so if you finish 0, 1 or 2 laps down, then you get points. So credit to the drivers. You know, there was a message sent to the drivers before this meeting, so that, you know, try to finish if you can. But considering that about 10 drivers had to take faster pairs there, good recovery then from those drivers to get back out on circuit and finish the event. We are just seconds away from the gridding up process for this race 3 of the evening. It's quite late now. It's 6 in the evening, or late afternoon, however you want to call it, Andy. So a bit more grip for the drivers out there?
Yeah, definitely. The track temperature is now down to 23 degrees, which is a lot lower than what there normally is in midday around this track. So there should be a bit more grip coming around. They've had 2 practice races around this track now. So this third race, it's all to play for. You've got the Edgertons obviously quite up the grid in 10th and 11th place that have proved that they're quite fast around this pack, and Kelly that we know that's fast in 12th, so watch them coming through the pack. But like I say, it's a mid-pack race there, and we just got to try and get through these first couple of corners, trying to be a bit unscathed, and then the race can unfold from there, I think, Sam.
Yeah, that's what we want more than anything as commentators. All we want is a good race. We don't like to see crashes. Sometimes the big ones are fun, but no, we just want to see a good race. We've had a couple of crashes, so we're all full up on that, and hopefully we see an awesome battle for the lead. 3 amateur drivers on the front of the grid: Paris, Lecor, and Pravda. Those top 2 never taking part in an Apex Racing League event before, so new surroundings for them, guys. Let's see how they cope. 5 lights are out. It's an awesome start for Pravda from 3rd on the grid. It's just a very poor start, I think, honestly, for Paris, who is going to have a slightly shorter line to the first corner. But look at Pravda looking to the inside. He's knocking down the cones, but he has got that inside line crucially, and he should be able to take the lead heading into turn 1. Aggressive from Whittaker to go up the inside. There's a little bit of contact, but fortunately they didn't spin around, and Whittaker moves up into 2nd place. We have got a spinner behind, and we're going to have lots of drivers spinning off. Fortunately, they go to the left side of the circuit, although a few can't get out of the way, and yeah, that's going to be a few more fast pairs. Again, probably the best start of the evening, but still not what we want to see. And both Adjenson's brothers were involved in that one as well. So a couple of the front runners, also Mietonen, who drove very well in race 1 and race 2, also dropping down the order. McGuinness running wide, and Whittaker takes the lead then. So Whittaker, who was storming off the line, and he is taking the lead on the first lap.
Yeah, terrible start there from the pole sitter. Got a bit bogged down the start. Had 2nd and 3rd Prada getting really good runs onto him, and Whittaker with his quite aggressive stance has actually managed to keep out in front. I thought there was going to be a bit of incident between himself and the first place guy, but unfortunately he pushed out wide the pole sitter and managed to not cause too much of an incident there, but managed great racing from him to try and take the line, because that's what you got to do in racing, is if you see a gap, you've got to try and go for it. As we see a bit of damage here down into the corkscrew, it's quite amazing how much of the wheels we're seeing, as we see a wheel going down the corkscrew there in front. So a lot of cars losing wheels, but we only lost 5 on the first lap that time, so we've gone from 17 to 10 to 5, Sam. So real improvements here in this 3rd race, but we're seeing here that Simon Ball quite a hefty damage on the car, and I think he'll be coming in soon as well.
Yeah, what could have been for Ball? Looking really strong in practice, qualifying, and the start of race 1, and it's just gone absolutely dreadfully ever since then. As Charpentier, oh wow, he is wide. That's Riesdijk in the middle of the track. Finds that bit of tarmac to use to get back on. So not too bad there for Riesdijk. He's probably going to be one of the highest scoring drivers on tonight, because I think he's finished in the top 15 in both race 1 and race 2. So here it was. So this was Charpentier, I think, in the orange car. And then that was the spin there for Riesdijk, and still probably warming up those tyres. We've seen that mistake plenty so far. Charpentier now being overtaken by Anderlecht and also Smith. So that's odd for Charpentier, because he's been so quick tonight. And I think if he finishes like this, he'll actually be the championship leader after tonight, because he's finished in the top 10 in both race 1 and race 2. But in this race, he's just dropping back. So he's lost out to both the Brazilian and the Brit. Oh, spinner in the background. Who was that? I think that was someone spinning in the background. Must have been a lap car, I think.
It probably was, but Charpentier, like you say, it's all about consistency in these leagues. Is trying to keep it consistent, trying to keep getting them top places finished. But the other one to watch out for is probably Kelly. He's in 8th place. I haven't seen his car to see if he's got any damage, but if he certainly hasn't, which it doesn't look like he has, he can really start stretching his legs. We saw the speed that he had in race 2 when he had a bit of free air. So it'd be interesting to see how he makes up the position, because he's not far off Civo in 7th and Lecor, who are batting it out in 7th place. So it'll be interesting to see how he can come through the field now, as Brad Cole loses a place to Civo going into the first corner here into Lagos. I nearly said into Lagos there. Terrible.
Interlagos would be a very dull
It
circuit.
would be.
It
would be.
Jeez, minute on the throttle. My God, it was struggling to get up the hill. You saw Leclerc's livery there. It's got dogs on, cartoon dogs, which I thought was quite one of the probably the most interesting livery when I was checking them earlier on. And yeah, it looks very cool up on stream. So nice work there from Bradley, certainly winning the livery award there as Kelly storms through. He comes from nowhere. Oh no, the dogs are being mutilated there, and Leclerc making a good turn there to get off the circuit. That was Yank who won race 1 and actually had a very good race 3 under the radar because he started outside the top 20. I just hope he has got the steering straight. I think he should be alright, but yeah, really not sure whose fault that was. He seems to be alright, does the German. Oh, Smith, Andelo and Charpentier. Oh, what's happened? We've got cars almost into the desert there. What has happened with Shirley? He was in the fencing, and Andelo's now chopping down. Almighty has just kicked off.
Yeah, as you see, Shirley, it's that fast left-hander going a bit. Oh, unfortunately, it hits out, and Kelly picks up Kelly going into that corner as well. So Kelly was making real good strides going into it, and got taken out. So, oh no, it's terrible for him as we see. The amount that these top of the grids are changing, Sam, it's hard to sometimes keep track of what's going on, but there's so many incidents going through, and you know these. You just got to take the right lines through these corners. You get off track a little bit in these cars, and if you hit this sand on the outside, it sort of spins the car around, as we saw there. You know, taking that wrong line through that left-hander bend, and unfortunately spinning out and catching the car behind him. So yeah, it's certainly all going on in these 3 races we've seen tonight here, Sam.
Could we get a replay of what happened to Charpentier, because there was 2 incidents that kind of went on at the same time there. There was one outside the top, kind of around 10th position, which was the one we saw, and then it further up in the battle for kind of 4th, 5th, 6th was this one. So Charpentier at the back of this one. That's Smith in the green car. Oh, Charpentier's got nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. So that was, yes, Smith, and I want to name the other driver as well. Was it Leclerc? No, Leclerc was involved in another one, wasn't he? So I'm not entirely sure. Apologies to that driver. I haven't named that, but basically they all lost out. So that's why Pravda is now up to 2nd position as an amateur, and 3.5 seconds ahead of Kelly. I think Kelly will catch up by the end of the race, but still a podium is on for an amateur driver. First race of the season, which is impressive considering that we've got about 15 odd pro drivers out on track, as we're riding on board with Fowler, who's 4th place out of the amateurs and really in the thick of it. From Andelo down to Walsh, and then you separates about 5 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't Kelly that obviously went off that I thought it was. It was Shirley, wasn't it? So Kelly's still in the throes for 3rd place and catching Prada in 2nd place. So that's certainly, he's in the throes to be able to get this race. It's drastically running out. We've got half the race distance done, but he's certainly on a charge now. And now he'll have a bit of free air. He can actually get up to the back of Prada. Going into these, but you know what is interesting to see here, Sam, is the difference in speed between these drivers, and I think what some of the faster drivers need to be aware of is more sort of the spatial awareness, because what we've seen quite a lot of tonight is these cars going into the back of each other, going into where you've got the overspeed. So I think it's just a learning curve that the guys are going to have to take going into the future rounds. As we see here, we've got Jarrett Will and Jank right underneath him, trying to get him into the corner, coming up to turn number 5.
Very intimidating, that rearward shot, looking at the nose. These aren't very big cars, but yeah, from that angle, it looked like a giant there. Yank up to 10th place, so despite that issue, he's still running up in the top 10 and will probably be one of the points highest scorers. I have no clue who's going to be leading the championship. Maybe Kelly might, because he didn't actually do that bad in race 1. He was like 12th in race 1, and then might get 2 podiums in race 2 and race 3, but man, it's difficult to tell. Will trying to come back at Yank. That's really not worth it. I'm surprised Will's fights in that one, but of course new driver to the series often, and of course no one really knows who you know the quick guys are, but I think you've got to learn that you know, Yank is quick, and it's best just to try to stay in his draft. Walsh moving past Fowler right there. Ross Fowler, very late entry. He joined during practice, in fact, to the series, but he's getting some decent results. And man, that was very close as well to overtake Walsh right then. Immediately sprinting away, so I have no clue what's happening in that battle because each driver seems to be going slow around each corner. The top 6 are all very spread out. This is the highest up battle. This is Scarrett, Anderle, and Reisdijk. All quick drivers, I think. Anderle may be the fastest of the 3, but Scarrett and Reisdijk also, I think, qualified in the top 10 in qualifying.
Yeah, definitely. So this is probably the hottest battle on the track at the moment for 7th, 8th and 9th that we can see here. All within close battle, all within that slipstream effect. So we'll be just pulling each other along a little bit spread out with the rest of the field. 4th and 5th, there's about a second between them guys as well. But we see Whittaker here still keeping that 3.3 gap over Prada, and Kelly's not really making a big inroad into Prada at the moment. Still 5 seconds behind him, but as we see here, 9th, 10th and 11th still battling out. So all throughout the field having the pocket little battles between themselves. But it's great to watch these cars and see the lines that these drivers are taking, and the amount of overspeed that they're getting in, and some of the questionable lines coming through certain corners, but great viewing, and I'm sure our viewers are loving this at the moment.
Yeah, of course, if you are, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as well to Apex Racing TV. If you like and subscribe, then that means that more people get to view us, probably get blessed by the YouTube algorithm or something. And, oh, Reisdijk, come on, go. And he drops to 11th. But yeah, please do leave a like. It does help out the channel quite a bit. And yeah, subscribe, because we've got 20 odd other broadcasts going on every single week. Lots of different cars. This isn't the only single seater action. We also have an F3 league on Saturdays, and that was insanely good on Saturday. Honestly, one of the best races I've ever commentated on. 3 15-minute races at Phillip Island, and we had 4 wide at one point. It was absolutely mega to watch. So do watch that one back, and make sure to catch the future rounds. So yeah, and also check out our social media page as well on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Fowler and Walsh still going at it. I have no clue who's faster out of these two. Like I said before, one seems to have taken one corner, then the other guy seems to be much faster through the next corner, leaving each other acres of space at the moment. And all this battling is allowing Sabo to catch up the Hungarian. It's very close, as Pravda has been caught by Kelly, and I think this is just a matter of time, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. Coming up the road here. I think it's coming down into the corkscrew. Is that right? Yes. Great view here. Going into it as we see him going down, and Kelly gets the job done. So, you know, Prado done the right thing there. Actually, he's quite far out in front with the Arms Maprisi in 6th place. So, you know, there's 4 places between him and the next person in Am, because correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, obviously the points go on where you finish, not where you finish within the class. So the higher you can get up this grid, the more points you will get. So at the moment, Prada's in a really good position in 3rd place in the AM, and his nearest amateur competition is in 6th place. So decent amount of points here for Prada.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible for him, as Paris is very, so he couldn't have run out of fuel. This is a fixed setup series. I don't think we've mentioned that so far. This is a fixed setup series. It uses the baseline set provided by iRacing, so you can't run out of fuel because everyone starts with the same amount of fuel. It's quite literally impossible to use it all in the 15 minutes. We've still got cones in the middle of the circuit. Probably knocks many of them over on the first lap, but I think they've been quite knocked a few times since then. Scarrett just moves past Anderle. Anderle didn't fight that one too much, but well, Scarrett ahead for now. And of course, do we make sure to, as Simon Ball's off the circuit again, of course, this is a free to join league provided by Apex Racing League. So if you want to join the action, then visit apexracingleague.com and sign up. We've still got 7 more rounds of this to go, 21 races to go. All fixed setups, like I said. It's a fantastic series for newcomers to drivers who may not have a whole lot of league experience. And it's yeah, it's a lot of fun because you get the reverse grids. Really, everyone has a chance at a win. And of course, if you sign up with a low I rating, you get put in the amateur class, and you can try to win that championship. So do check out apexracingleague.com for details on that. As we see Smith defending from Siri Sabo there. These two very much by themselves in 4th and 5th.
Yeah, it's great to watch them going down the corkscrew near enough getting airborne when they come off the top of it. See that suspension getting full travel and then bouncing right back up when they come down to the bottom of it. So, that's great viewing. As we're watching this great Nandalo and Parisi, and something wrong with Parisi. He must have got a slowdown there, Stan, because he all of a sudden went from 6th down to 8th place. So, and he's miles behind this car. So he must have had a slowdown coming off the corkscrew, trying to take that a little bit too tight.
I think he may have got one in the previous lap as well when I went on a bad tangent about fuel. I think that may have been a slowdown as well. White flag is out. Jeez, these three races absolutely flown by. Oh, Smith is off the circuit. He hasn't got damage though, and thankfully for him, he's so far ahead. Our overlay says he's in the pit lane, but he's not. And he only drops the 1 position. But this was the battle with Series 7. I just hope that there wasn't contact between the two.
Yeah, definitely. As we watch it here going into the corner, it just spins it out coming around that first corner, and obviously iRacing say, well, he's obviously coming out of the pit, so he must have been in the pit lane. Obviously, Aaron Smith probably feeling a bit bad that he may not have been in the pits. I'm not sure if he has, and thought he'd see what everyone else is visiting the pits for. But yeah, it's been a hotbed of action this whole 3 races throughout the field. And like you were saying, Sam, if you're new and you've never done league racing, come and join this. It's free. And you get a good taster of what the league racing is like in ARL. And as Sam said, there's many other series you can actually join within ARL, covering every scope of car, even super trucks.
Exactly. So yeah, do check it out. As Whitaker, we've had one brand new winner already tonight. Well, we're going to see another one here. James Whitaker out to the final corner. Kelly pushed him hard in the end, only a second the gap. Maybe he needed one more lap, but there was no denying the Brits. And it's James Whitaker, the 116 car, who takes race victory in race 3 at Laguna Seca. Kelly sets the fastest lap of the race and probably gets the championship lead because he managed to get a 12th, a first and a second in the end of Kelly, so will probably be championship leader after tonight, which just shows how useless race 1 is, because it's all decided in race 2 and race 3. As we've got defensive moves here, Walsh is driving it in too deep. He was defending inside and outside. Fowler might get 2 places at the line here, and he does. Great driving there from Fowler, and he beats Sabo and Walsh, and I hope Fowler and Walsh continue to battle like that for the rest of the season, because those two seem remarkably evenly matched. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got the exact same birthday, honestly, because they seem exactly identical as the Atchinson's brothers. Well, these guys might have the same birthday, in fact. I'm not sure if they're twins. But they are in 16th and 17th, and it'll be Jensen's who beats Dara for the 2nd race in a row.
Yeah, definitely. It's there's little pocket battles that we're seeing forming already from these first 3 races that should take us through for the rest of the season, with a lot more to come, I would imagine. But certainly, Dara had Dara and Jensen have had great battles. Obviously, the 2nd race coming 2nd and 3rd. The 3rd race, unfortunately, getting caught up in the incidents. But certainly, those 2 are one to watch, as well as Kelly. And unfortunately, we had the winner of race 1, unfortunately getting taken out again in race 2 and 3, really, that is sort of hindering, but he certainly showed his pace in the first race. So, this championship, although it's only the first round, many battles are going to come ahead. And as you've seen tonight, Sam, 3 different winners from the 3 races. So hotly contested and open, as we see a rather different line there from Aaron Smith.
Yeah, he was making an attack at the spectators there. So he flies into the air, does the Formula V car. I'll just take this opportunity as well, whilst the final few drivers are just crossing the line, to thank Virtual Racing School for sponsoring the series. Virtual Racing School with over 50 data packs for road and oval racing setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. Pretty much everyone who I've talked to about Virtual Racing School are absolutely elated with the data analysis software. It's a fantastic way to identify how to improve. Basically, a pro driver sets their lap time, you set your lap time, and you can compare the telemetry. You can see exactly where you're losing time out on circuit. And of course, if you book a one-on-one coaching session with them, that makes it even better. It's the go-to place if you want to get better on iRacing. And thanks to Virtual Racing School for sponsoring this series. So I think we can bring you through the final results then for this race 3 of the evening. And for the first time it was James Whittaker who took the race win ahead of Jordan Kelly. Pushistaya Pravda was in 3rd place and by far the highest point scorer in the amateur class tonight. Then it was Daniel Siri-Sabo, Aaron Smith, Alexander Scoret, Flavio Andelo, who will also be near the front of the championship actually after tonight. Jan-Philippe Yank won race 1, terrible race 2 and a mediocre race 3, he had it all tonight. Then it was Jakob Paris, Yet Will, Russ Fowler, Gabor Sabo, Jay Walsh, Alexander Roggenbuck, Colin Samson. Then it was the 2 Atchinson's brothers. Simon Ball was in 18th. Then it was Jakob Behrens, Martin Shirley, Damien McMullen, Jack Reeve, Pedro Dominguez, Michael McGuinness, Mark Charpentier, who was looking to take the championship lead actually, but was involved in a collision in race 3. Then it was Bruno Costa, Brad Lacour, Frederick Reichsteig, who did not score points because he was too many laps down. Also didn't score points was Jesse Meaton and Dean Timms. Jakob Money didn't take the start, neither did Jared Callow. Maybe those drivers having enough after the misdemeanors in race 1. We will hopefully have some interviews with drivers, and I think we are going to. So we will first bring up Austin Knight, who was remarkably the highest point scorer in the amateur class tonight. Austin, man, buy a lottery ticket, mate, because that was absolutely remarkable. But credit where credit's due in all seriousness. Congratulations, that was a very good job.
Thank you, Sam. It was a fantastic race. Race 1, I did probably the most stupid thing. I forgot to shift into first, and well, I stalled it off the line, but that was probably a blessing in disguise. I dodged, I think I fell down to 30th, and I came back up into 17th, so I let somebody do that map, but 13 cars on their sides, upside down somewhere. I was panicking lap 1, but somehow got through there. Race number 2, unfortunately, didn't have the best race, had that spin, but top 10, and then race number 3, hey, Valtteri Bottas, come to me if you need some braking tips into turn 1.
I mean, how well, you took the lead, didn't you, for a moment?
James, James is incredibly fast. He's such a good guy, such a good driver, so I knew I didn't have the pace. He swamped me in race number 2, so I just let him have it. Same with Jordan. I'm not racing them, so I don't think it would be best to hold them up and risk myself losing some more points. So, yeah, that was an amazing race, and I'm excited for the rest of this championship.
Yeah, we've got Summit Points next up on the calendar.
Another place I've raced in real life.
Excellent. Do you think that will be an advantage for you? Or...
It's slightly an advantage to know the track in real life. I don't have to spend as much time learning the track as I do. I've raced here in real life, but never in this car. So it would take a little bit to refresh, but all in honesty, it's slightly just, I know the track, I'm comfortable with the track, and I'm not going to be freaking out on the stuff, but turn 1 should be a bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty chaotic around here, and I think that place is even worse. So yeah, that could be
it's more narrow.
Finally, I mean, what are you going to tell the admins when they promote you to pro class, seeing that you did so well tonight?
I know it's you, and I'm straight to your face. I'm not on the pro pace, and I'm just lucky. So you can take that with a grain of salt. I will be vetoing that decision.
I didn't know you had that power, but okie doke. No, I think you'll stick in the answers. I'd like you to see you fighting for the championship and still 7 more rounds to go. Austin, is there anyone you'd like to give shouts out to?
Yeah, I gotta thank everybody at Lead Paul Racing for supporting me, and everyone there. Pan Code, I hope you're all right, and hope you recover soon after your visit to the hospital. Thank you everybody in my stream at twitch.tv/Pravda_210. Thank you to our computer sponsor at Artesian. Artesian builds custom PCs. Use code Pravda_210. And thanks to Andrew, Sam, and Samuli up in the commentary and broadcast booth, and everybody watching on Apex Racing TV.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Austin. We will see you back next week.
Thank you.
Austin Knight there. He will actually be it'll be roles reversed on Thursday because I'll be racing in the NASCAR championship and he'll be commentating on that one. So don't miss that one. Austin with Josh Lee on that one. Andy, who would you like to have a chat with next?
Let's see if Damien is available. Let's have a look. Can we get in? See if he puts his mic back on. Hi Damien, can you hear us, mate? Or is he off? He might be off at the moment. Okay, we'll come back to Damien. Let's get Aaron in.
I don't even.
Hi Aaron, welcome to the commentary box. How are you, mate?
I'm doing all right.
How was that first race, or the first 3 races for you on that?
Really, really fun, to be honest. I think race 1 was just mental because even though I got spun out in turn 1, I still managed to finish P5, so it's not too bad. Race 2, just pretty much same story, got taken out and then managed to finish P8. And then, yeah, race 3, should have probably been a podium. I was just involved in 2 unfortunate incidents. One was my fault and the other one wasn't. But it was so much fun.
Well, obviously, it's a brand new league to the Apex family here, this with the Formula Vs. How different is this car to drive than any other car that you've driven?
This car is nothing like anything else on iRacing. The only thing that's slightly similar is maybe the Skippy, but it's so slow, but it's so fun at the same time. It's just like you can't really use any of the gears apart from 4th and 3rd. You barely have to turn into a corner at all, otherwise you'll just get a bunch of oversteer, and you just have to be really gentle with it. And if you do, you somehow manage to finish top 5, top 3, and maybe even win.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point there, because we watched in the first 3 races, and it seemed like turn 1 was a real struggle for some of the drivers. Maybe, like you say, don't realise what these cars take to get around the corner and taking it a bit slower. And luckily, you managed to figure that out at the start, and obviously you were up in the top 10 for the 3 races, so it puts you in good stead in your championship.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I'd be that quick today, but the fact that I've been so consistent across all 3 races probably puts me in a good shout at the championship. I don't think I quite had the raw pace to go for a win today, but you never know what can happen in these races. And unfortunately, the only thing in the last race was round turn 1. Back marker just rejoined onto the track and put me off, and I just lost the rear end, and yeah. Could have been P4, but oh well.
I think we did see you spin round on turn 1 on the stream, so you can catch up back and see that little perler. But I think you obviously went into the pit lane, so I think you were feeling a bit left out because of the amount of people that saw that pit lane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just utter chaos today. Even my mate Jack, who does this league with me, he got absolutely driven into in both races, the last 2, and was in the pits for both of them. So he just got really unlucky. But he's also a bit slow. So
we've got Summit Point next, up in the next round of the championship. How do you think it's going to fare there? Are you confident in this car going around that track?
Sadly, the only time I've ever driven that track is in an Indy car. So yeah, going from an Indy car to this is a bit of a jump, but I think that track will suit these cars fairly well. It's a relatively small track, so I think it should be some good racing at some point.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying the league so far after round 1. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Everyone at Apex for putting the league, the commentators, you guys put on such fun leagues, especially this one. And thanks for making it free. That makes life so much easier. Because I would have probably not done this league, but I doing this now. I probably would have paid for it. It was that much fun.
That's
But
good.
yeah, thank you everyone at Apex. This league so far has been really fun, and I hope the trend continues over the next 7 rounds.
I'm sure it will, and I'm looking forward to commentating here. So thank you very much, Aaron. That was Aaron Smith there, obviously enjoying the first round in the Formula V, which is what we all knew would happen, Sam. So a couple of more that we could bring in. Who are you going to bring in next, Sam?
I think I'll bring in our race 2 winner, Mr. Jordan Kelly, who joins us now. Congratulations, John, because I believe you are the championship leader after round 1, which I guess you weren't expecting after race 1.
Yeah, after this one, it wasn't looking too good. I got a few, I missed a few downshifts and spun, and I don't think it could have got much worse. But I got the head stuck down, got away in the second race, and then lucky enough just avoided all the carnage in the third race. I like barely got through, but it was good. It was good fighting, trying to catch up to the leader and stuff. So that was good.
Now, I believe you actually race a similar car to this in real life, because Formula V kind of varies around everywhere. So, I mean, what's it like in real life compared to the sim?
The V on iRacing is kind of based more off the American style Vs. They're modeled with our tire, like the Irish Formula V tires, the Toyo Proxys, but they don't have the same grip. Like it's in our kind of cars, it's kind of like you can push. Like in real life, I've yet to spin the Formula V. Like it's literally impossible. Like, but and this is just a different story. You could just go anytime. It's kind of more based off the American kind of grip. So they use slick tires and stuff. So it's a different story, but it's a completely different car to drive. But it's same principles. Kind of try to keep the speed up through the corners and kind of all that kind of stuff. But it's and I only got my first one in the real life there 2 weeks ago, so it's good to get back into the sim too.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I'm not sure how, I guess it's tricky to, assess, because I'm not sure kind of how big the circuits you've raced around in real life is like. But on the sim, the draft effect is insane. I mean, is it similar in real life?
It wouldn't be as much, but through the longer straights and this kind of stuff, it would be like you get a lot of slipstream like off the V's, because there's literally zero aero like in them, so everybody's just breaking the one for them. But watching my cousins and stuff, they race all over in and uncle, they race over in American V's, like, but watching their onboards and stuff, it looks a lot similar to what the iRacing would be, because they use a lower powered engine, a 1200 Beetle engine in them, and getting in this tow, it kind of, with the less power, it makes it 20 times more effective, like. So it is very I'd say it's very close to what it should be.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's great. Nice to know for the rest of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Jordan, whilst we're still on air?
Just whoever that I know is watching. Good job on Damien getting his first race won for the Pro-Am Championship. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Jordan, and we'll see you back in 7 days' time.
Yeah, all right, Tom. Good luck.
Jordan Kelly there, your championship leader after one race. Andy, I think we've got just about enough time for you to have a chat with Mr. McMullen.
Yeah, let's get him in. Hi, Damon. Welcome to the commentary box. Are you there this time?
I am this time. Sorry about that. My phone was exploding with phone calls, and I didn't realize I was still on mute, so apologize for that.
That's not a problem, mate. So, brand new league, Formula V. How did you enjoy it?
Really enjoyed it. It's only my 5th time ever driving these cars, and it's just a handful, but really great, enjoyable, grateful grid of cars, and really enjoyable.
You had a bit of a mixed bag, really, in the race. I think the first race you did quite well. The second race you didn't do too bad, and the third race you came down in 21st position. How do you feel this differs from other cars that you drive in iRacing? Certainly, say the MX-5, which obviously the championship you just come out of.
It's just a complete different vehicle to drive. Like the MX-5, you can literally be door to door, but in these fees, if you touch anything, you're going to have damage. And like, but race 1, I think it was a Pro-Am win for me in the class, so that was just what I was looking for, just to see can I get a win in this. But race 2, it was just a mix, and then race 3, it was just got too nervous.
Not like you, Damien?
Am I there, mate?
No, it's great. So, I mean, are you looking forward? So we've got Summit Point next. Obviously, you've only driven these cars not that much and not that much experience. So I won't imagine you've got much experience around that track. Obviously, you might have in other cars. Will you be putting in the practice for round 2?
Yeah, definitely 100%. Like, it's going to be testing from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Monday with the open setup or the open practice. So there's going to be definitely that practice being done before then.
No, that's good to hear, mate. I'm glad you're enjoying the new series. Something a bit different to the MX-5 here on Apex. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go, Damien?
Well, I just want to say hi to all the lads. I started streaming this weekend for the first time, so I just want to say hi to all the mates online and to all my sponsors, my friends, and TE as running another great championship. And we hope you see you all next week.
Yeah, we will definitely see you in Summit Point, hopefully in 7 days' time there, Damien. Thanks for joining us.
See you later.
It was Damien there, Sam, so enjoying it. And it seems to be a resounding success. You know, everybody that we've got in, although there was tight races and we did see a lot of incidents during them 3 races, everyone seems to be loving the car and loving the difference in racing compared to normal GT3s, GTE cars.
Yeah, I think it's something very different. Yeah, it's all about racing, isn't it? With these cars, it's kind of less to do with kind of refining the way that you're driving around each circuit. It's much more down to where you can position the car when it comes to those race starts and kind of throughout the race as well. So no, certainly something very interesting on Apex Racing League. Quick word on the next round of the championship, Andy. We're heading to Summit Point. Now, I really like that circuit, and I think in these cars, actually, I think that's a pretty ideal track because there are some slower speed corners. I think around this place, a lot of the traditionally high-speed corners are just flat out. They're not really very challenging corners. I think around Summit Point, though, you've still got kind of that turn one. You've got the middle part of the lap as well, where you do need to, you actually use the brakes on the car.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, like you said, this course here was a taster for the guys, a bit of a wider track, flat out corners that they could go through. But like you were saying, Summit Point, a completely different beast, and like you say, more suited these cars. I think the drivers now are fully aware of how frail these cars are and the need to make sure that they watch your racing lines. And it's going to come apparent in that race where they're going to have to take the corners a bit slower, not flat out. And certainly we'll see the ones that put in the practice and the ones that fall a little bit behind some.
Yeah, for certain. It will be a fantastic round 2 of the championship, along with another 7 or 6 rounds to go even after that one. And of course, you can take part in them. Go visit apexracingleague.com where you can see sign-up details for the championship. And you can also see sign-up details for all of our other series. We've got GT3s on Tuesdays, we've got NASCAR trucks on Thursdays, we've got Stadium Super Trucks on Fridays, we've got Formula 3 on Saturdays, and we've got GTEs on Sundays. So really lots of things covered on Apex Racing League. And if you join our Discord server as well, there's a link to that in the description below. You can join that and you can see whenever we announce a new championship. And we've got a few in the works as well, so I certainly recommend joining that one very soon. Big thanks once again to Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this series. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to Apex Racing TV so you can watch all of our other series throughout the week. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Andy Thompson, and from Sam Kume, we are going to say goodbye, and we will see you back for round 2 of the championship at Summit Point next week. See you then.